Greetings, Starfighters! Welcome to the next episode of Shameless Cashgrab. So, we are headed back to 1984 for a movie called Lovelines. No relation to that, oh god, how many people even remember that old Lovelines radio show was even a thing? The thing with that pop psychologist Drew Pinsky and professional douchebag Adam Carolla? But, well, off topic. This movie does feature Michael Winslow of the Police Academy movies, the guy who does all that stuff with his voice. So, that's honestly about the only thing about this movie that gives me any hope for any laughs whatsoever, because the plot looks like a lot of high school drama, and I cannot relate to that kind of stuff at all. I'll get a little more into that in the episode itself. Once I've watched the movie, of course.
And now I have watched 1984's Lovelines. Okay, let's just get through this. The plot summary comes to us courtesy of Wikipedia. The annual Battle of the Bands is raging. Two rival high schools, Malibu High School and Coldwater Canyon High, have two hot bands, the Firecats and Racer. When the lead singers of both bands, Piper and Rick, meet, they fall in love with each other and have to fight realities such as peer pressure, the fact they attend rival high schools, and even Piper's older brother, Godzilla, and yes, that is what they call him through the entire movie, try to stop their love from getting stronger. The telephone service called Lovelines, run by J.D. Prescott, played by Michael Winslow from the Police Academy movies, is right in the middle to help the two stay in love with each other, and is also sponsoring the annual Battle of the Bands, where their bands are competing with each other. It all comes down to a masquerade party where everyone from both schools learned that true love does indeed conquer all. Bleh. And also, back to the shorter summaries, folks. Sorry about that, I really did try. We have the second movie in a row in the Life's a Beach set where the plot description on the back of the DVD case is misleading. While that ended up working in Spring Break's favor, not so much here. Oh, the whole thing with an older brother trying to stop their younger sister from having sex is present and creepy as fuck, but that's really more of the B plot here. The A plot is the Battle of the Bands thing mentioned in the plot summary. And the pranks on display between the two rival high schools here, this is YouTube prankster level shit, man. And, prankster YouTube, of course, being the euphemistic name for a segment of YouTubers more accurately called assholes. These assholes think they can get away with anything if they just label it a prank. Like that one guy, like a few weeks ago, who got himself arrested for a bomb threat a few weeks back, and as the cops were dragging him off, video shows that he was crying about it being a prank the whole time and going, "Don't arrest me, bro." Oh, and this is even better. He did it, and it wasn't actually his idea, it was something that one of the people, like, in his chat, it was something like, donate money, they'll do a prank for you, that kind of thing. The donor who got this guy arrested, $4.20. Yeah. Okay, back to the stupid movie. Okay, so I'm aware that school rivalries are a thing in real life, but man, I'm glad I never had to deal with any of that garbage. Because I never actually went to high school. That wasn't actually my choice. I was kept out of it by my family because, they were terrified that I was going to get killed if I went to North High School. It had a bit of a reputation, which was kind of unearned, really, because, as it turns out, the only school shooting that ever occurred at North was after hours, and it wasn't a student. Some drunk idiot stumbled onto the football field and then shot himself in the foot. But, that's not really relevant. So instead of talking about high school stuff, i.e. things I can't actually relate to, let me talk about this movie's biggest problem right up front. Yep, say what you will about the nudity in the previous three films, At least it's implied, if not explicit, that the women in those films are over 18. Obviously, the actresses in the movies are too. But you see, this is a high school comedy. Yes, the seniors would presumably be 18, but without making it clear that every girl from, say, the opening prank involving whatever the hell it was that was used to make the swim team lose their bathing suits during a meet or something. To clarify here, I could barely hear what the characters were saying, and these sets don't come with closed captioning, but whatever, I don't even... The point is, the fact that these are largely teenagers would make this all cringy enough, but to top it off, it is somehow more exploitive of women than Hard Bodies was. I mean, yeesh. At least, as I said, all the women in Hard Bodies were adults. I'd go into this more, but mercifully, about 90% of the film's nudity is in the first act, so I don't really need to dwell on it that much. Actually, speaking of not dwelling much, there's not much that I can say about this movie, really. I mean, Michael Winslow is Michael Winslow. His antics are mildly amusing. A few jokes land here and there. Nothing spectacular. Oh yeah, and there's a rape by deception scene. Yeah. Not sure why I didn't mention that first, as that was something of a movie killer for me. Well, no. Movie killer implies that I was enjoying it before that moment. It's a sequence that was marginally less gross than the one from Revenge of the Nerds, somehow, which is oddly impressive in a twisted sort of way. But it's just... Okay, the scene is barely a minute long, so it's shorter than Revenge of the Nerds, and the victim seems only mildly put out. Well, at least she didn't end up dating the guy. At least I don't think so. I'll get to that in a moment. I mean, I get angrier about bugs in a video game than this girl got about the guy... Okay, this character has one of my uncle's names, unfortunately. Covering her eyes and trying to pass himself off as her boyfriend at a party, which she somehow buys until he's in... I don't even want to say it. Fuck this stupid movie. And it just goes, hey, you're not Godzilla. Yeah, again, they call him Godzilla. But, yeah, the character of my uncle's name goes, you're disappointed, and she goes, not really, but you're not him, by the way, no offense, and then she starts screaming for help. It's just such a bad scene. Oh, God, okay. Let's move past that. If I dwell on that, I'll start getting shouty, and I'm not alone in the house right now. So yeah, some Romeo and Juliet bullshit without the death goes on, and in this movie's case, the lack of death is actually unfortunate, because I hate everyone. I'm pretty sure that the girl from the rape by deception scene earlier gets basically kidnapped at the end, with no repercussions or closure. Seriously, the last thing we see is she ends up on, this ATV thing, speeding away from the masquerade completely by accident, and then we never see her again. The Battle of the Bands ends in a tie, because of course it does, and the movie ends, and at least it was short. I'm so glad Hard Ticket to Hawaii is up next, you guys, really. This review is definitely, calling it a review is a bit of a misnomer. I don't really do reviews. I do initial reactions, really, more than anything. The point is, this video, it's going to be pretty short, and the thing is, it's not just because I don't like the movie, but because there's really not that much to talk about. I mean, I basically already gave you everything you really need to know about this movie. I mean, a lot of it you can just infer from stuff I've already said. And then, the random thoughts section, and that's coming up in a minute. You can probably get a lot of the rest from that. It's just there. It exists. There's really not much to it. And what little is there is kind of bad. I have said before, and granted, I'm not the one who coined it, but I've repeated what other people have said, that one of the hardest things to talk about in shows like this are bad comedies, because there's really only so many ways that one can say, this is not funny. And that's extra true in here, because, lack of respect for, like, all the female characters, like, except for maybe 2 of the band members of the Firecats. The lack of respect for women, I've talked about in previous episodes. Sexual assault, I talked about that in the Warriors of the Wasteland video. A few jokes landing, but not enough to make it worth it. That was basically my summation of Private Resort. I'm not sure there's really much more, beyond the random thoughts section coming up, I can say about this movie that is really not just repeating things I have said in other episodes. This movie is just, in a weird way, it actually would have been better if the movie was worse. It would have given me something to at least make fun of. It doesn't help that it's summer here in California and my brain is basically fried most of the time. But, even if I was at, mentally 100%, this would be a short episode. It really would. Oh, one question does occur to me, though. Why does the titular phone service in this movie even exist? There's literally nothing stopping these characters in this movie from calling each other on the phone directly. And why did they name the movie after it? Okay, so 2 questions, I guess. I guess it was just so they could give Michael Winslow something to do. Besides make noises and break the 4th wall. Let's go ahead and make it a 3rd question. How the hell was this movie able to get away with using the Indiana Jones theme during the fight scene at the costume party in the final act? I'm not kidding. It's the Indiana Jones music. Da, 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 da. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now ASCAP's going to get this episode taken down. But when it started, during the fight scene, the fight scene between Rick and Godzilla, and I still can't believe his fucking name is Godzilla, the Indiana Jones music starts, and I'm just like, was I dosed with something? What? And you can't even, this wasn't a Paramount movie. This movie was not from Paramount. That means they probably had to pay extra for that music. Unless they didn't pay for it at all and then they got sued. Or the movie was so under the radar they didn't bother suing. Why? How and why? The Indiana Jones music during a fight scene between, an idiot jock and a slightly less idiot musician. Okay, let's get to the random thoughts section now. 1 minute and 2 seconds. You might be wondering why I'm saying that. That is the time to tits counter. Remember how I almost decided to junk the whole time to tits counter thing after spring break because it was more than 25 minutes into the movie? Well, this movie changed that. I'm definitely bringing it back, because 1 minute and 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's the record so far. I think the only way any of these movies could break that is if we see boobs, during the part of the movie where, all the studio logos are coming up. Now, the main characters, they're on a first-name basis with the film's narrator, which is kind of funny, I guess. Would have been in a better movie, anyway. Speaking of deserving better movies, a noted character actor, the late great Miguel Ferrer, was in this movie, playing, of all things, the drummer in a high school metal band. He was already 29 at the time when this movie came out, so, talk about Dawson casting. There is 1 point I will give this movie. When Rick tries to kiss Piper, these are the band leaders in case you forgot, and I wouldn't blame you. She's got her eyes closed, and she doesn't know anybody's even there, and so he overhears her, and she and he kisses her, but she's still got her eyes closed here, so she doesn't know it's him. And so she reflexively knees him in the groin. And he apologizes and acknowledges that it was his own fault. Because he shouldn't have snuck up on her like that. You don't usually see that kind of self-awareness from guys in these kinds of movies, so, hey. Yeah. He has also got more self-awareness than the people who made the movie, apparently. Because, I think this movie's editor must have realized that this was an ultimately disposable and forgettable movie, as the end credits play over what is basically a recap of the movie, just skipping over a few scenes and with no audible dialogue. I'm not even kidding. Basically, the credits contain a summary of the movie that I just watched. Okay, last random thought. Oh, well, this isn't so much a random thought as a fact I learned while I was looking for a plot summary to use for the script. The final film that the director of this particular movie made, this wasn't his last movie. His last movie? The Garbage Pail Kids movie. I don't even need to make a joke here, do I? Final verdict. This movie is just a slog. There's no one to root for. I mean, one of the main male characters is an attempted rapist, for fuck's sake. I get that teenagers are generally assholes in real life, too, but that only reinforces my point. I hear enough about stuff like this, and even worse, happening in real life. Why would I want any of that from a movie, let alone a comedy? Or an alleged comedy, I suppose I should say. The only thing that really made it possible for me to get through this whole thing in one night, I often pause the movie I'm watching to take notes, but occasionally I just pause so I can groan and put my head in my hands and rethink my life. But, you know, the general air of pettiness was occasionally broken up with bouts of, I'm not going to say good, tolerable. Yes, tolerable music. Yeah, because it is the whole Battle of the Bands thing, so we get interrupted with songs every once in a while, and it's not bad music, but it's not really good either. It's just tolerable. You know, normally I'd complain about random dance scenes in a movie that's not a musical, you know, just bringing the story to a screeching halt, but given how little I cared for the story in this movie, I'll allow it. Anywho, hard ticket to Hawaii. Guys, if you have not seen this amazingly batshit movie, and to be fair, I haven't seen the whole thing either. I've only seen Alison Pregler's review of it on movie nights. But what I've seen, it's enough. I know that I am going to enjoy this in much the same way I enjoyed The Hearse last season. And if you don't believe me, if I can find a clip that I can use off of YouTube, I will show you the scene from this movie that went mimetic. The scene that is just so out there that not even having it in context really helps. If I can find it, you're going to see that before the end title card, and if I don't, you're going to see the title card after I stop talking, which is going to be about
Here's the gun, skater. Blow him away.
No problem, baby.
Look out, he's got a gun. Jade, how bad you hit?
I've been better, but I'll live.
Let's get that turkey.
The bazooka, Rowdy?